Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Hello everyone, welcome to episode 37 of Mouth Dancing with your host Young. I just recently got back from a trip to Las Vegas for work. I was working 12-hour days while I was there, 7 to 7. So I didn't get to do too much fun stuff while I was there, but I did get to see a little bit of the city. It's a pretty cool place to visit for a short while, but I definitely wouldn't ever want to be there long term. Seems like a bit of a hellhole outside of all the debauchery and gambling, you know? Like the locals seem pretty rednecky and conservative, you know? I mean, I don't want to be too judgmental. I know there are all kinds of different people living there just like anywhere else, but... And also, the weather's nice, but I think it would get to me after a while. I don't think I'd want to live somewhere like the desert. Somewhere like Hawaii would be better, I think, for me. Anyway. Yeah, I checked out the casinos and stuff a little bit. I mean, I checked out the casino in my hotel, which was the Venetian, and I lost about $100. I mean, that's how much I planned to spend about, and I just lost it all in, slot machines. I'm pretty bad at gambling, and I don't really get addicted to it either for some reason. I feel like an urge to really keep doing it all the time. I know some people who have gambling issues, and I don't know, it's hard to get into their mindset. I don't understand how it would get so out of control that you're like spending your children's college fund, to play some game. I guess you start thinking, oh, well, I'm going to get it all back at some point, because the odds are that if I just keep gambling lots of money, I'll get it all back at some point, maybe. Maybe that's the reasoning, or maybe they just get addicted to the games in themselves, all the flashing lights and all the numbers and all the excitement, the adrenaline of risking money and stuff. Maybe that's what it is. Not sure. Yeah, I stayed in a big suite too. The company paid for all of it. And I ordered room service a few times too. That was kind of fun. Living in a hotel though is kind of weird, even if it's a nice hotel. Something about it where you just can never quite feel settled, because it's not your own place. So even if it's a suite and it's a really nice hotel in a place like the Venetian, something about it that's kind of, I don't know, it still feels like you're slightly roughing it in a weird way. If that makes any sense. Because the stuff just feels kind of foreign. I'm not complaining. It was a really nice hotel. And it was pretty cool to be in Vegas for a few days. See something different. Get out of town for a while. Reset your mind a bit. Your spirits. It's good to see the sun. I did like seeing the sun, that's for sure. But I was indoors most of the time, so I didn't get to hang out outside too much. Anyway, other than that, one thing I noticed when I was flying is people really get a little bit too excited about carrying everything they're going to need in just a carry-on luggage, right? And maybe a small bag. I think some people just get too carried away with that. Checking a piece of luggage is not that big of a deal, All you have to do is pay a little extra and check it in. And it takes 15 minutes extra just to wait for it to come out of the thing, the luggage thing that spins around and around. I don't know what that thing's called. A luggage carousel, maybe? It's really not a huge deal, but people are so adamant about getting all their stuff into a little carry-on luggage. And then the plane is always a fucking fiasco because everyone's just trying to shove all their luggage up in the overhead compartments. Before and after the flight. After the flight always takes forever too because everyone's shuffling around and trying to get their luggage out of the top of from above their seat in that compartment up there. It's like, imagine if more people checked their bags, how much smoother flights would be like when you're getting on and off. It's like, calm the fuck down with that shit, you know? You don't have to get all your luggage on the plane with you at once. Just check your bags, for fuck's sake. You're not gonna die, alright? It's gonna take just a little extra time out of your day. It's not even a big deal. And usually the baggage claim stuff is really close to all the ground transportation anyway, and you're gonna be going that way anyway, so just calm down about it. One idea that came to me though when I was in Vegas, seeing all the gambling, you know, like craps tables, is I thought, why don't they make a two-sided die? Like, you have all kinds of different dice, right? You have 6-sided dice, the standard square or the cube one. Then you have like the ones they use in Dungeons and Dragons where it's like 20-sided or even more. They have everything, I think, except for a 2-sided one, right? Do they have no, I don't think a 3-sided one could exist. Could it? I'm not sure if that would make sense, like, geometrically or whatever. But a 2-sided dice would be pretty cool. Because it would be kind of like flipping a coin, right? So then you just toss it and it's going to be whatever numbers you have, like 1 or 2, or heads or tails. So then you'd toss it and it would, I don't know, spin around maybe or whatever, and it would land on one side or the other. So it'd be pretty similar to a coin toss, but it would be a 2-sided die. They should invent that, or maybe I should invent it. That's a pretty good idea, actually. Then it's simpler too than like a 6-sided die. Too many numbers can get a little bit confusing, you know? It'd be really good, especially for people who are not good with numbers and they want to gamble. Then they don't have to like do too many calculations in their head. Because gambling is kind of discriminatory that way. It's like you have to be a mathematician to do it, you know? And not everyone is really good at math. Especially like when it comes to adding and subtracting or like trying to figure out probabilities and things like that. So if you just have 2 possibilities, it's easier, right? It's like everything is like a 50-50 chance basically. And half the time you're gonna win and half the time you're gonna lose probably. Those are better odds than when you have like a 6-sided die. Because when you roll one of those, I don't know how to calculate that, but the probabilities of getting a certain number are way lower, you know? That would attract a lot more business to casinos too. And I don't know, from what I could tell, the casinos in Vegas are doing very well. Make a lot of money. I noticed also they have cops everywhere in Las Vegas, especially on the strip there, where all the casinos are. It's like there's pigs parked everywhere. They're just kind of standing around. I don't know, man. I guess they probably need a lot of security in that part of town. From all the money flowing in and out. All the other vices going on. I don't know what else. Like, probably drugs and alcohol. Maybe firearms. Maybe prostitution. All kinds of stuff going on. Maybe human trafficking. But yeah, when I was in the airport in Las Vegas, I saw in the stall there was all these different numbers to dial, or there was a number to dial if you want to report human trafficking. I don't think I've ever seen that in any other airport before. So maybe Las Vegas has an issue with that. Maybe a lot of the people who do sex work there were trafficked there, you know, illegally. It's a pretty crazy thought. And I also got the impression that outside of all the casinos and everything, that's a very sort of conservative place, you know? Everyone just seems like kind of country-ish rednecks, you know? Kind of conservative and judgmental, you know? Very uptight about things. It's another one of those cases of where you have, in America, you have these weird polar opposites because of like the Puritan culture at the core of everything, and then modern culture clashing with that. So it's like people tend to be either like raging alcoholics or they don't drink at all. It's like everything's an extreme, you know? And Las Vegas seems like that too. I bet outside of the casinos, everyone's like probably some sort of a church freak or something. Also been thinking a lot lately about room temperature. Isn't that a weird concept? Because depending on where you're at, room temperatures fluctuate like crazy, you know? You should never say that something is room temperature, because what if one person's in Alaska and another person is like in California? Well, I guess the temperatures could be similar because the person in Alaska probably has their heating on. But let's say they're like in their garage or something where it's not heated, and then you say room temperature, it could be like freezing or way below freezing, right? And then the person in California, the room temperature, even without any air conditioning or heating, is like 70 degrees. And yeah, it's going to also vary based on what kind of like central air arrangement they got going on. But if someone says to you, you know, you have a room temperature IQ, that's pretty insulting, right? Unless you're in a really hot place. What if where you're at is like, what if you're in a sauna? Then room temperature would be like 100 and something, like 190, maybe higher. I think 190 IQ is pretty smart. So if someone ever says you have a room temperature IQ, a good comeback for that is to say, yeah, if we're sitting in a sauna, that's right, I have a room temperature IQ. And then say that they have a polar ice cap IQ. It's like in the negatives, even. Is it possible to have a negative IQ? Like you're so stupid that no matter what you do or no matter what you say, it's like it's so wrong that it causes like crazy shit to happen. I bet that's possible. Some people seem to be that stupid. Like no matter what they say or do, there's just, or think even, there's just all this constant mayhem around them because they're so dumb. It'd be crazy to live with someone like that. Anyway, I believe most of you out there have at least an average IQ, I hope. Or at least a room temperature IQ if we're talking about a sauna. And I believe you do, because those are the types of people who listen to this podcast. And I'm really grateful for your patronage or your listenage or your viewership, whatever you call that, your audience, your spectatorship. Actually, you're not spectators. Well, you could be watching the video version of this. You're like listeners more like, right? Yeah, thank you to all my listeners and to those who view the YouTube videos. Thank you. Thanks so much. And I'll see you next week. Goodbye.